An average student became the world's second greatest scientist. At the age of 21, he was told that he would only live for 2 more years. But he proved medical science wrong. He lived with his illness for more than half a century. He uncovered many hidden secrets of the universe. But his own universe remained limited to a wheelchair. He turned his weakness into his strength, not an obstacle. He was unable to walk, move, or even speak. Yet a time came when the entire world listened carefully to every word he said. I'm your host, and you're listening to Who Is That? Today's story is about a man who couldn't move his body, yet explored the entire universe with his mind, Stephen Hawking. During World War II, on January 8, 1942, Stephen Hawking was born in the university city of Oxford, England. Both of his parents were educated at Oxford. Everyone in Stephen's household loved reading books. His parents were very intelligent, but Stephen himself did not have much interest in studying. In the first year of his education, he came third in his class, but this third position was not first, second, third. It was in the bottom third. He loved sports more than studies. He used to ride bicycles with his friends, play board games, and sometimes even participate in rowing competitions. Although he did not focus much on studying, he was intelligent from childhood. Together with his friends, Stephen built a computer from recycled parts of clocks, telephones, and switchboards. This device helped him solve mathematics problems. His friends used to call him by the nickname Albert Einstein. At the age of 17, he was admitted to University of Oxford. He wanted to take a degree in mathematics, but such a degree was not available at Oxford at that time. Therefore, he chose the fields of physics and cosmology. In 1962, he received his degree in natural sciences from Oxford and then took admission to University of Cambridge to pursue a PhD in cosmology. However, during this period, his biology began to deteriorate. Not his subject, his own biochemistry started having problems. Sometimes Hawking would suddenly fall while walking, and while speaking his voice would begin to tremble. Stephen did not take these changes seriously at first, but the weakness kept increasing until he was forced to take it seriously. He was pursuing his PhD when one day he suddenly collapsed while walking. He was rushed to a clinic. The doctor examined him, conducted several tests, and then revealed a painful truth that changed his life forever. At that time, Stephen Hawking was only 21 years old. But he had developed a rare and complex disease that usually appears after the age of 50 and eventually leads to death. Doctors told Stephen that he had amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as ALS or motor neuron disease. Patients with this disease gradually become paralyzed. Their nerves stop functioning, and the connection between the brain and the body breaks down. This news struck Stephen and his family like lightning. Doctors told him that he had only 2 years left to live. During those days, Stephen had a frightening dream. He saw himself being hanged. According to Stephen Hawking, that dream made him realize the reality of death, and he began to value life even more. He felt that life was not over yet. There was still much he had to do. Before this illness, Stephen had been an average student. But the 2 years given by doctors made him realize that he might not even live long enough to complete his PhD. So he focused all his attention on research. Hawking's disease made him weaker than before. He started walking with the help of a stick. But he did not lose courage. He continued living like a normal person. In 1965, he married Jane Wilde, and they had 3 children together. However, the cruel disease continued to weaken him. By 1969, he had moved from a walking stick to a wheelchair. But this was not an ordinary wheelchair. It was specially designed scientifically. He even wrote while sitting on it. However, there was a problem. Hawking used to drive his wheelchair very fast and often lost control. Once, while moving quickly, he even ran his wheelchair over the foot of Prince Charles. On another occasion, during a conference, he fell while driving his wheelchair. In that accident, his hip bone broke. Hawking often laughed when remembering this incident. He used to say, "I'm a very bad driver." Because of his illness, he also began having difficulty speaking. Then in 1985, Stephen developed pneumonia. Due to lung infection, he also started having trouble breathing. An emergency operation had to be performed. The operation saved his life, but it completely took away his voice. This was a huge shock for Stephen Hawking. But University of Cambridge found a solution. A special talking computer was developed for him and installed on his wheelchair. This talking computer became Hawking's electronic voice. Stephen typed using a slight movement of a single cheek muscle. At first, even typing a single word exhausted him. But gradually he became an expert at using it. He would select the words he wanted, and the computer would convert them into an electronic voice that came out through a speaker. Using this computer, Stephen Hawking wrote many famous books. Through the same talking computer, he prepared and delivered his lectures. Stephen was known as a theoretical scientist. He had a habit of making bets on scientific ideas and often losing them. Because of this, his friends frequently teased him. He made many scientific claims. Some were proven wrong, but some created a revolution in the world of science. Although Stephen Hawking was physically paralyzed, his mind worked in extraordinary ways. Sitting in his wheelchair, he presented many new theories in physics and space science. He had a special interest in theoretical physics, especially cosmology. Theoretical physics means reaching scientific conclusions through mathematical formulas without experiments. Remember that Albert Einstein was also a theoretical physicist. Hawking first proved the theory of black holes using mathematical formulas on a blackboard. This caused a sensation in the scientific world. Black holes are regions in space that can swallow entire solar systems, stars, planets, and even time and energy. Stephen said that planets disappear into black holes, but new planets may also be born from them. Black holes emit certain rays that can cause major changes in the universe. These rays were named Hawking radiation. Hawking radiation is considered one of the most important discoveries in understanding the universe. When Stephen first presented the theory of black hole radiation, even his colleagues refused to believe him. However, later research proved that Hawking's theory was correct. He also proved that black holes are not completely black. Some particles constantly escape from them, though they reflect almost no light, which is why they have not yet been directly observed. Some of Hawking's theories were controversial. In 1975, Hawking made a bet with scientist Kip Thorne about whether Cygnus X1 would become a black hole. Thorne said it would. Hawking said it would not. In 1990, Hawking lost the bet. Later, in 1997, Hawking and Kip Thorne made another bet with scientist John Preskill about whether information is destroyed inside black holes due to gravitational collapse. Hawking said information is destroyed. Preskill said it is not. Again, Hawking was proven wrong in 2004 and lost the bet related to his own famous theory of Hawking radiation. Stephen Hawking wrote around 15 books. His first book, A Brief History of Time, remained a bestseller for 4 years. Another book, The Universe in a Nutshell, also became a bestseller. After the publication of these books, Stephen Hawking reached global fame. In these books, he explained topics from the Big Bang to the formation of black holes. He also wrote 5 science adventure books for children with his daughter Lucy Hawking. One of them was George's Secret Key to the Universe, published in 2007, which explains space, stars, planets, and black holes to children. Although Hawking made many discoveries, he was also worried about one scientific development: artificial intelligence. He warned that advanced AI and autonomous robots could have destructive consequences. He once even said that the development of artificial intelligence could end the human race. Ironically, he himself depended on artificial intelligence to communicate through his talking computer. His illness and behavior also affected his married life. Although his first wife Jane supported him greatly, caring for him and raising their 3 children, their marriage eventually failed. Jane once described Stephen as an arrogant and ill-tempered child. In 1990, Stephen divorced Jane. 5 years later, in 1995, he married his nurse Elaine Mason. But this marriage also ended in divorce in 2006. Their love story later inspired the 2014 film The Theory of Everything. Despite his disability and personal struggles, Stephen Hawking never lost hope. He was cheerful and always encouraged people who felt discouraged. In 2016, he hosted a science quiz show called Genius by Stephen Hawking. In 2012, He also made a memorable guest appearance in the TV show The Big Bang Theory. In 2007, at the age of 65, Hawking took an important step towards space travel. While visiting Kennedy Space Center in Florida, he experienced zero gravity during a special flight on a Boeing 727 aircraft. During the flight, he was taken out of his wheelchair and floated freely in weightlessness. Normally, such flights cost about $4,000 per passenger, but Hawking experienced it for free. After the flight, he said, "This was an amazing experience. I could stay like this much longer." Stephen Hawking's next mission was to travel into space. He believed that if humanity did not learn to live in space, the human race might eventually become extinct, just like the dinosaurs. His name was even included on a passenger list for a future space flight. But fate had something else planned. On March 14, 2018, Stephen Hawking passed away. Doctors had once given him only 2 years to live. Yet while solving the mysteries of the universe and space science, he lived 55 years longer. This was the story of the modern scientist Stephen Hawking.